Hello, everybody. This is Address the Sess. I'm coming to you live from a hotel room in an office park somewhere in Austin, Texas. This is going to be something of an experiment. We have not done this. I don't know if you can even call this on location. We might actually call this just location. So we are not using our wonderful Revision 3 internet system. I am using it from the hotel I am staying at. So if there is some chop, there was a little bit of lag, please forgive me. We're going to try to make this work. Because, yes, I am that devoted to all of you. We're also going to try something slightly different this time, which is I want to see if we can get more of a conversation going. So I'm going to try to interview you guys more. At some point, we're going to take questions from you. But, we're going to see if we can get a little bit more back and forth. So it's not just me kind of proctoring from here in an office park somewhere in Austin, Texas. So I think we have some people joining. I don't know if you guys are ready. Are we ready to put them on?
Yeah.
Nick? Everyone say hi to Nick. Hello, Nick. That was my alternate guy voice. Right there.
Does he have a name, or is it just alternate guy?
No, that's just the voice inside of my head that sometimes emerges.
All right, well,
it just kind of works that way.
How about we bring in Chase Benevente?
All right, Chase. Okay, Chase, I have one key thing I have to ask you first. Do you notice anything different about me?
Oh, you're pixelated.
Okay, outside of my pixelation, although that's something that I've been trying to use a lot of lotion to handle. But other than that, anything? Anyone else notice this?
I can't tell a thing.
I shaved my beard. One of the reasons I'm out here required me to shave my beard. I'm glad that became such an iconographic aspect of my person. So that's great. Chase, no, let's actually talk games and something relevant. Today there's some pretty sad news. LucasArts, the venerable game publisher, is gone. Did you know about that?
I did, yeah. I kept
I can only guess what your age is. Did you ever indulge in the LucasArts games?
I did. I'm 26. I'm not afraid to put that out there. But yeah, I did. I didn't have a whole lot of experience with Lucas.
Did you play only the Star Wars games, or do you remember playing non-Star Wars games?
I remember playing the Star Wars games. Absolutely.
Yeah. Which do you have any idea which one?
I don't know.
Well, okay. Did you know about the game 1313 that was supposed to be coming out? They showed it at E3 last year. It was kind of one of those games that said, "I'm next gen," but I can't say I'm next gen because that's a bad word.
It's not. It wasn't impressive. Honestly, they weren't putting out anything that was exciting, so I can absolutely understand why they went under the way they did. They didn't change. There was nothing that changed with them.
And obviously, Disney bought them. And I find that, I can't imagine that's the end of Star Wars games. That might just be the end of LucasArts Star Wars games. So what are you playing right now?
I'm playing Black Ops 2.
I know. Are you liking it? Are you playing single player or are you playing multiplayer?
I play multiplayer, hardcore. I'm like top 500 in the world, so I'm pretty up
wow.
Yeah.
I'm like bottom 500 in the universe. Just so you know, yeah. One of the biggest issues and cry for me for having to play so many games. You don't get as good at multiplayer because you're moving on to every single new game that's out there.
Other than that, BioShock Infinite. Are
you playing that?
Pass that one up. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Rule to everybody: we are not going to talk much about BioShock Infinite. I just want to respect anybody who's in this chat who does not want to have the game spoiled, because it would be one of the worst things to be spoiled. I'm sorry, Jackie. Okay. We are. Let's see if we can grab someone else in here.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's talk to Connor here. Chase, I might come back to you, so be on your toes. All right. Let's talk to Connor. Connor, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well. Where are you hailing from?
I'm from Scotland, UK.
Oh, Scotland! I love Scotland.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask where in Scotland?
Yeah, near Glasgow. I'm originally from Dundee, though.
Awesome. Well, thank you, international friend, for joining us.
Sure.
Okay, well, since you are not from the U.S., if you don't mind my asking, if you were to kind of make a general statement of gaming habits in Scotland, how would you describe them? Is it very shooter heavy? Is it more RPG?
Yeah, it's Call of Duty mainly. FIFA, Call of Duty.
FIFA. Of
Pretty
course.
much.
If it's not the U.S., everyone's playing FIFA.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there is a separation here in the States where there's people who play sports games and there's people who play all the other games. Does that happen there, or is just FIFA universal?
It depends on the person, really, but it depends on the age also. I mean, 16, minus 16, I'd say mostly Call of Duty and FIFA.
Mostly Call of Duty and FIFA.
Yeah.
Are you just Call of Duty and FIFA, or do you do?
Oh, no, I play
in
hundreds of games.
What are you playing right now?
Oh, I just started playing Defiance, and I finished BioShock Infinite.
Oh, wow, you're playing Defiance.
Yeah,
Now, are you getting... Because obviously that's tied in with the television show.
Yeah,
Are you going to be getting the show out there as well?
yeah, I'll be watching it. I think it comes out on April 15th.
Yes, I think you're right. Yes, that's the Sci-Fi Network.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
NBC. Yes.
Okay.
You know, that actually raises an interesting question. I'm going to move this over here to Duncan McQuarrie.
Sure.
Duncan, are you there? Nick, can we bring in Duncan?
Yeah, here comes Duncan.
Here comes Duncan.
There's Duncan.
Duncan. So we were just chatting about the game Defiance, which is tied in with the Sci-Fi television show. I'm curious, if you didn't know anything about them, if I said, hey, I got this great game that's tied in with the television show, would you be like just throwing your pants on, running out the door, trying to buy a copy? Oh, looks like we don't have sound from Duncan. You lost you there, Duncan?
Duncan, you might have to manually unmute your mic. So try clicking the little mic icon underneath your picture there, or at the top bar of the screen.
All right, we lost Duncan there, so I'm gonna pop back over here to Connor. So Connor, because you're playing Defiance, here's what I'm interested in. I get skeptical when someone says, "Hey, this game is tied in with a television show," because that just sounds like a recipe for disaster. So I'm curious what you found intriguing about it.
Well, I played it for about 5 hours today, and apart from, I mean, I got it on PlayStation 3, so they've got some problems with the voice chat, which is kind of annoying, as when you're playing with friends, you want to talk. Apart from that, it's very similar to World of Warcraft. You know, you go on your quests, and you get to find some people on the quests. But apart from that, it's the looting system and all that. It's quite fun.
But it is real-time combat, isn't that right?
Yeah, real-time combat. You have to aim in and stuff. Third person.
So I'm curious, before you started playing the game, what made you so interested to want to play it?
I wasn't going to buy it originally, and then a couple of my friends got it, and I thought, well, I'll try it out, and yeah. Because
you have people to play with now.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if you're playing on your own, I wouldn't advise it.
Yeah. Multiplayer games by yourself tend to be
exactly.
a bad idea. I'll make it kind. All right, let's see if maybe we can get our buddy back in. Can you hear me, Duncan? I guess the question is, can I hear you? Hey, Duncan, we're going to work on that there, but maybe we're going to move on to another guest, Jaron.
Here's Jaron.
Hey, Jaron, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Okay, so as I was just asking our friend Connor out there in Scotland, if I said, and you don't know anything about it, hey, I got a TV show and I got a game that goes with that television show, would you be like, awesome, screw everything else, I'm playing it?
Normally, all the other games that I play that are based on TV shows, all of them pretty much sucked. I remember when, what channel was it? I believe it was when Fox or something, they had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV show. They had a game based on it. I played it, and it was terrible. That was on the GameCube.
Which was just unfortunate because, you know, the classic arcade game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is one of the most awesome games ever. Like, that was...
Yes,
that's like a warm embrace of youth for me. But I remember when Lost had a video game, and
I remember
had
that.
a video game.
I almost forgot, and then you reminded me of it.
Yes, I'm going to drag all of you guys back into the thrall of poor memories of video games. I mean, okay, the idea of the Sopranos game, because what made that show good? Because he's in therapy. and like he has a funny relationship with his wife, which is easily fodder for a good video game.
Do you remember the Jackass game?
Yes.
I
do.
I think you reviewed it on XPlay. You gave it a 1 out of 5, and I was laughing so hard during that review. It was,
yes. I might as well fess up. Sometimes when you heard my voice for some of those reviews, I didn't review the game. Somebody else did, and then I would read the review. And it was a luxury because I didn't have to play the Jackass game. But then in reading it, you feel like you've had enough of the experience to put it behind you. If there was a TV show that you wanted to make a game out of, do you think there's anything out there that would work?
I'm not sure if there's any TV shows out right now because I don't really watch that many TV shows, really.
Good for you. It's all about the internet from here on out. TV, all right? Yeah.
But I do remember the Family Guy game. That was decent.
Yeah, the Simpsons game from EA almost worked. Yeah, it's just not the right medium. Maybe if they tried to take on the right show, like the PBS NewsHour. I think that would be an excellent idea for making for a video game. Okay, on this subject, let's move over to Max. Max Bouguet. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Uh-oh.
No.
We got another silent one.
Oh no! You're gonna have to yell from your window.
We go. Gotcha. There we go.
There we go. Max, where are you hailing from?
Pennsylvania. I was on last time.
Oh, that's right.
I remember him.
Right.
Remember that face.
Well, it's good to have you back. Okay, television shows and video games. Is that like peanut butter and chocolate, or is it like salmon and chocolate?
I don't know. Survival Instinct just came out recently. That game was horrible.
Such an excellent case for television show video game adaptations. Have you ever played a television show video game?
I played many movie ones like Ghost Rider on PS2 and like the Scorpion King. Those were horrible ones that were given to me, but there are some that can be made correctly.
I like how you say they were given to you like smallpox.
Yeah, I mean like they gave them to me as just like presents for like birthdays and stuff.
That's unfortunate. Okay, so here's the whole gist of this Defiance game is that there's narrative that's happening on the show, and it has sort of real-time relevance to what's happening into the persistent world of the game. Does that I actually wonder how feasible something like that is, but does that sound like it's appealing to you?
Isn't Defiance a shooter MMO?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's telling the story from the TV show,
it's an alternate perspective. So you're not getting the straight narrative of the show, but there's like intersecting moments.
So how's it going? Like if what you see on the TV show one night, you're gonna see like those time periods during the game?
I think so. It's kind of like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead without the clever intelligence.
I guess it could be done well. I mean, multiplayer. I mean, there hasn't been like a shooter MMO.
Let's take the gameplay aspect out of it. But more the idea that if you're really into a television show or there is something that you like, does the idea of like expanding the narrative into a game, does that sound interesting kind of on face value?
As long as it's telling its own story and it's not just telling what the show was, then it should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, because movies are 2 hours, games.
Yeah, I don't want to replay the whole show.
Yeah, you got to know what's about to happen. So, so I'm assuming you're not playing Defiance. So we've been talking quite a bit about it.
No, I have not.
What are you playing these days?
I'm currently playing Infinite on 1999 mode. And the new one.
Is this your first playthrough, or is it your second playthrough?
My second.
Oh, okay.
And
I haven't tried 1999 yet. I mean, is it significantly harder?
A lot harder. I just got past. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but
yeah, let's be good.
Yeah, let's not go there.
But I'll take your word on it that it's much harder. All right.
Yeah, it's much like the old games, like the original Deus Ex, where it had like a training like you had to actually get better at that game. Like it really shows how games have gotten a lot easier since the old days.
Okay, now do you think they've gotten? Yes, they are easier to play, but do you think that the game is deliberately easier, or that the game design is a little bit? It's not as sort of unbalanced, because in Deus Ex, you could play that game and paint yourself into a corner. As much as I love that game, you could do that, and like that's not really something you see in games these days.
But like in 1999 mode, the shield that you get is basically useless because it's just like one bullet and it's gone. So it like really takes away, because after Halo 2, all these games introduced like health regeneration and stuff like that, which made the game a lot faster. But this game you have to play like more slow and like hide behind cover. I mean, I had to just shoot from a distance for like a whole boss battle.
It really, like, the sniping weapons seem to be taking on a lot of importance then. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, now you've intrigued me. Once I'm out of an office park somewhere on the outskirts of Austin, I will be playing 1999 mode. And if I don't, then I'm just trapped out here forever. I want to move on to Reed. Hello, Reed.
Do you want to move on to a new batch after this, too?
Yeah, well, let's talk to Reed, and let's get some questions from the chat area room people. Reed, hello. Oh, no, Reed.
I don't know, but I'm...
He's got to unmute his mic.
Oh, I got back. I'm back.
There we go.
You got it. Reed, where are you coming from?
Utah.
Utah. Like northern Utah, southern Utah, cold Utah?
Southern Utah, 2 hours from Vegas.
All right, I was flying over that today coming into Texas. So I feel that we bonded. No, we actually didn't. That sounds kind of creepy.
No.
Anyway, Reed, I want to move past this idea of television and video games because we'll just see how this defines thing works out. But my question for you is, I imagine you consume a lot of video game media. You go to various websites. You're wasting your time here with me on Address the Sess. What are you most interested in hearing or reading about when you go to these sites? Is it news? Is it like seeing something new about a particular game, or?
It could be a mix of many things, but for me, it's like when I hear news about certain things that really interest me. Like I'm still trying to figure out like what are we going to see now with the whole news I've been hearing lately, the whole change of the landscape of all these companies are reorganizing. It just happened like within the year that all these companies are reorganizing, and you think, is there something wrong? Or are they actually trying to figure out, hey, there's problems, let's actually fix them this time?
Yeah. Now, I think they actually might be trying to fix their problems, but if you were to make a guess, do you think the problems will be fixed?
Not this year, but probably next year, because I think that it's going to be a long, hard road just to get from where we are now to where we are later, because it's going to be a long, long train to get there.
Okay, so let's do some role playing, and not in a creepy way, in more like a game way. Okay, so John Riccatello isn't running EA anymore, and they kind of have a position. Let's say that they kind of just kind of took a butterfly net and they happen to catch you, and you are now running EA. What do you do?
What I would do, I would actually hold off on franchises and not be yearly anymore. Or actually, I actually tell them to take more time to actually develop games that are actually fun, and don't build franchises. Change them.
You're getting applause here from Jared.
I'd actually make proper games. I would actually look at what's available to us, what's been done in the past, and say, could we actually use these old franchises that we've used and bring them back to make them worth playing today?
You need to be the new CEO.
Reed is the voice of the people, it sounds like.
Trust me, I've seen so much. I just want to change EA so badly. I just like Battlefront, like Battlefield. Change that to Battlefield. Change that to a much longer time gate. Madden, I can't really do it because it's their thing. But what I would like for them to do, is, like especially in the sports games, instead of making it yearly, just bring out one engine, and then bring out a DLC. It costs $30 to get you to update new updates to the rosters, the engine, all the kind of such. That way, you don't have to respend the game every single year.
I agree. You know what? I actually think there's a chance that could happen with the sports thing. That like if you buy the game, you buy a 2-year subscription, you get the constant updates. That just strikes me as kind of a reasonable thing to do. But you know, unfortunately, cut out for a second. What do you think? What did you make of that? I guess trailer or segment of game from Battlefield 4?
Oh, I haven't seen much of the Battlefield 4 trailers because I've just been so busy. But from what I've seen, I don't know.
Okay, would it shock you if I told you it was really, really pretty and men shot stuff? Particularly...
Just like every other shooter on the market?
Yeah, exactly.
Make it interesting. Make these realistic shooters more interesting for you to play. Because I see them and just like, they're just being the same thing all over and over again. Show me something different. And I have played Battlefield before. Make things like make more tactics possible in that game. So it's like you tell a squad to go one place, you go do this one thing, like set up like someone has like let's say a weapon that's basically made to be mounted to some place, and they have to basically support you.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone plants a bomb to help blow a hole in the place so they can actually penetrate through, and all the troopers can go run in.
I mean, granted, that would open it up to co-op.
Yes.
And then maybe if you had AI, then it would be fun too.
Yeah. Show me something that you can, like, you're not just showing, like, I'm just shooting. Make it interesting. Make it reasonable for me to go do this objective.
Make it actually realistic on the thing that would be interesting to see the realistic, which is what an actual Battlefield situation would be. Well,
exactly.
I'm all for Reed running EA. I hope all you do too. I'll make some calls and see if I can pull it off. Thank you very much, Reed. Hey,
no problem, man.
Yeah.
What are the what's happening in Chatland? Is that we should
yeah, Chatland is the word for it. Yeah, there's a few pretty good questions. Stephen Russell from Google Plus wants to know: do you believe gaming can ever thrive on television, i.e., G4 or Major League Gaming tournaments or stuff like that?
I'll take the first part, like G4. I think the demise of G4, which is becoming the Esquire channel on April 22nd, and if you haven't seen our April Fool's video, shame on you. Go watch it after this. I think the demise of G4 shows that really it can't. If it actually got more hardcore with the gaming, it would probably even have poorer ratings than the crappy ratings it had when I was summarily shown the door. I think the thing is, when you want to do gaming, like you guys, and I understand this, and especially working on a website, you want the stuff immediately. You don't want to wait till 6 p.m. And you're not going to get anything more insightful at 6 p.m. than you're going to get from a quality website like Revision 3 Games at 2 p.m. or 2:15 or potentially 2:17 when the news actually hits. It just isn't like that. Now, as far as the MLG, I actually think still it survives better on the internet, and I think there's this desire to see it on television because there's this sense that when something's on television, it's made it. That it's a validating context for gaming stuff, and I just kind of, as someone who has been on television, I thought I'm so validated, and then really having left television, I realized I was kind of full of crap. It is, there's something about doing MLG online where you could have mini screens available, see what's happening from various angles, and it feels a lot more immediate. The minute you put that stuff on TV, trust me, it will be TV-ified, and you will have big fat smiles that seem insincere that really going to alienate you guys rather than make you feel that you've been validated by the great media gods who, at the end of the day, don't care very much about us. So that's my take on television and video games. Video games are made for the web, the best discussions, and I've been having more fun doing web stuff about games here at Rev3 than probably the last 4 years combined. So that is my rant rail when it comes to television. And
you want to bring in a new bunch of people?
Guys, I know we may not have gotten to all of you, and I do apologize, but for all of you that did, that was a lot of fun. I'm liking this format. Thank you for being my guinea pigs. And maybe next time you can graduate to Squirrel or Marmoset. Marmoset's what I'm aiming for. All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Adam.
All right.
I have no idea what a marmoset is, Nick.
I'm not totally sure.
It's just
My
one of
heart
those-
is telling me Australian, but that can't be right.
Well, no, all the stupid animals come from Australia.
That's just science, I guess.
It's like, you know, it broke away from the large landmass, and evolution went, let's do some fun stuff here. Come on, let's have a mammoth with a duckbill.
Yeah.
Do you know that the platypus is poisonous?
I did not know that. That's
Yeah.
another fun animal. It's like
Exactly.
you know
It
what it's
looks
like?
all-
It's like a undead nightmare where they're just like, let's have some fun with this, but with animals.
Yeah, except it was nature going, hey, let's have the cuddly, funny-looking thing that seems pointless and have it kill you. All right,
All right, looks like we got a few people in here now. You want to
All
bring
right,
anyone
looks
up?
like we have Alice Liu. Alice? Hey there. Where are you contacting from? I think we don't have your mic on just yet, Alice.
You might need to unmute yourself on the bar at the top of the Hangout.
Oh, we still can't hear you. Alice! Okay. Nick, see if you can, like help Alice here.
I will.
Alice, we're coming back.
We'll talk
We're
in
going
the
to
chat.
Ryan
We'll
for
figure
the
this out.
timing. Ryan, how are you doing? Uh-oh. Ryan, we got you?
There we go.
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Like I said earlier, I am in
My
a
mic.
hotel in an office park in Austin, and it's storming outside. So we'll see what happens. There could be drama to come. Anyhow, Ryan, as I was talking with a couple of the guys earlier, I'm curious, what do you look for when you get your gaming information? Is it mainly reviews, or do you like to go on for the news? And how frequently do you check up on stuff? Uh-oh.
Okay, first off, there's some sort of delay here.
I
It's
just noticed. I just noticed that. All right, so guys, forgive me if this keeps happening. We're going to see if we can get around
in like
this.
another country.
Office park. You aren't in another country, are you? Oh.
We waited out.
No, I'm actually in Virginia.
Huh.
Okay. Well, anyway, hopefully you heard my question.
And now we wait.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Usually, I like to see trailers for new games.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, make sure that you're watching the Hangout
instant
itself.
satisfaction.
Make sure you're not watching the YouTube video. Make sure you're watching the Hangout page
Yeah.
itself. Close the YouTube video. That'll probably help.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. All right. How about that?
Yeah, I think we might have gotten to the bottom of it. How's this
There's
doing?
no audio. No audio. That's not working.
All right.
Cool.
Well, maybe. All right. Should we go back to Alice and see if? maybe
Yeah,
we can-
let's keep trying.
Alice.
Let's keep bouncing around until somebody works.
Alice, here.
Okay.
All right.
Skip me. This isn't working.
All right. Sorry, Ryan. Alice, can we hear
Yeah.
you?
Hi.
Yes,
Hi.
it's working.
Yay.
It's
Thank you.
because I have 2 mics installed on my computer or whatever.
Oh, you have a
Anyway.
fancy setup. I see. I have headphones and my dreams. That's all.
I just built this really awesome PC this past December, so I'm really happy to be converted to the quote-unquote master PC race.
So I mean, now that you've done it, do you find yourself going on message boards and just going like, "PC's awesome," and you run out of there?
No, I don't, because I have a PS3 and I bought my PS3 first because I justified that the whole Xbox Live account thing was just not worth it in my opinion. $30 to play with friends. Why can't I just get a PS3 and play with for free online, you know?
So I mean, looking back now on that decision, were you happy with what you got out of the PlayStation Network?
Yeah, I'm really, really happy. I'm really into indie games. So Journey was amazing. I loved it. And, you know, I got to play Fat Princess, which is, at the time when it released, I thought it was the most interesting game out there at the market. Because it was it kind of felt like Castle Crashers, but, with a really interesting twist to it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So with that in mind, with your interest in indie games and your interest in Sony, were you aware of some of the stuff that was announced last week during the Game Developers Conference about what Sony is planning to do with indie games going forward?
Yeah, like I was tuning in to Rev3, and I'm not like on top of my news sources as much as I would want to be.
That's absolutely fine.
But,
hey, I was making a slight pitch to you. Go check out the fascinating interview I have with Adam Boyes, who is running kind of this new indie games division. But here, the top line of it is, there's this thing that's been called the walled garden that's been describing how indie games and these sort of smaller developers get on both Microsoft and Sony. And it's like they can get on, but it costs a lot of money, it takes a lot of time, and it's very hard to maintain the game.
I've watched that video. I watched it.
Oh,
so.
Yay! Okay, well, you're supposed to tell everyone else how awesome it was, and they should go check it out too.
Yeah, check it out.
I like you, Alice. So, I mean, now that you hear that Sony's really embracing the indie games, does that make you more committed to Sony? Does it change your opinion at all? Or are you just more happy with PC since that's such an open environment?
Well, actually, I know some developers will have their indie games because they program in that SDK like on one platform and then they convert it later. So, I'm excited for the PS4 because they talked about how the controller was changing, because my one big gripe with the PS3 was that the controller was like too hard. Like, I have big hands, but holding like a controller for that long and tilting the analog stick actually started to hurt my hands for a while. And so I guess it's like whoever the developer decides like on which platform that they're gonna be releasing on, that's gonna be my final decision on which platform to buy it on. Another thing would be like the price. So if Steam has a cheaper price, than it is on the PlayStation Network, I'm gonna get it on Steam.
How funny! Price? You mean the marketplace capitalism has bearings on video games? Oh, get out of here, you radical there, Alice.
Phil Irwin in the chat also brings up that there's just some key features that he feels are missing from Sony services, at least right now as it stands on the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no cross-game chat feels like kind of to him, he says it's a deal breaker, and he doesn't play games on his PS3 because of it.
Because you can't speak with a 360, or
no, between PS3 games. So like, if a friend is playing a different game on PSN, he can't chat with them unless they're playing the same game.
Oh, okay. I don't use chat over. I don't have a headset over the PS3 or the Sony.
Yeah, I use my phone. I'm like, yo, what are you playing? And they're like, this other game. I'm like,
I do that with my boyfriend.
And then I hang up. Actually, you know what? That was a complete lie, because I don't call people because I have no one to call. But that's why
I actually played Little Big Planet 2, and they have like me and my boyfriend don't have headsets, so we just call each other while we're playing because there's unlimited minutes. And then we're playing, like, there was this user created content for the newest like Call of Duty. It was like a survival mode with like zombies or something, and I was like, okay, you have to make sure you get this gun and whatever, and it was
it's all over the phone. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, the one thing I'm hoping that Sony will do, and obviously Microsoft will do this too with their consoles, is that what you buy when you buy it is all you need to get. That you're not going to have to get either something like a third-party headset, or that 2 years down the line you get a Kinect or a Kabluple. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's time that we move on, but thank you very, very much, Alice. Feel free to yell in and get into the fray. Let's see, maybe James will say something that will force that issue. James, where are you from? Whoa, James, you have an animal.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
He has an animal, but not a microphone. James, make sure you unmute yourself in the
top right-hand corner.
Unmute yourself in the top right-hand corner. Nick, we're going to change the name of the show to Unmute Yourself.
Unmute the Sess.
Yeah.
All right, let's. Do you want to move on to?
He's also having an intimate.
I think I have it now.
There. Okay.
Sorry, I was lagging on that.
Was that is that a parrot? Is that a parrot?
This is a parrot. She is a cinnamon-cheeked conure. Her name is Yogurt.
Yogurt.
Yep.
It seems kind of small for a parrot. Is that just my perspective screwing
Well,
up?
technically, parakeets, budgerigars are parrots too. They're all parrots.
Oh, so you're quite the ornithologist. Was I right on that? Did I get that right? Please tell me I got that right.
Yeah,
Anyone
you got
else?
it.
Oh, yes! Look at that. I pulled that right out of my ass. Oh, I just so you guys know, I have nothing left in my ass after that. Anyway, so you and your friend, do you game together, James?
Whenever she's on my shoulder, I tend to game. She doesn't like sitting on shoulders for long periods of time. She finds ears delicious.
Does the bird, does yogurt react to certain games?
If there's any games where there's a lot of high-pitched noises, like any dramatic music in a game, she'll squawk along with it.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So where do you and your parrot reside, James?
We are in Bradenton, Florida, south of Tampa.
See, that makes sense. I felt that if you're going to have a parrot on your shoulder, and mind you, 2 weeks ago, I had an eye patch wanting a parrot on my shoulder, so I wish it had shown up then. But Florida just seems the place to be doing that. So you have sunshine aplenty out there in Florida. So does that cause you any degree of tension, like when it's a nice day outside, you want to stay in and play?
Yeah, it's just I'm not. You can't game outside. I mean, I can't take my console outside with me. So yeah, I'm going to be inside when I game.
All right. I'm just curious. I used to feel that way in LA, where I'm like, it's a beautiful day, and I've drawn the curtains, and I'm shooting things in the face. Anyhow, so what have you been playing lately, or what have you been enjoying, or what have you been wanting to play?
I have not been able to tear Infinite out of my hands. I just really haven't.
Well, I tip my hat that you're even here in the first place if you're in the middle of playing Infinite.
No, you can see over my shoulder my computer. I mean, my TV is off right now. But no, I quit playing to come stay and watch this.
Oh well, I'm very happy to hear that. So we were asking a couple of other people because I'm kind of polling folk. What do you when you go to a gaming website? What do you go there for? What's kind of like the content that gets you excited?
Right now I am a big fan of besides watching videos for Rev3, I'm a big fan of The Escapist. There's Jim Sterling there, and Yahtzee. Well, not so much Yahtzee, but and then I also really like the comic series Critical Miss. I guess really what it is just it's a well-rounded website in my opinion. It's got the perfect balance between entertainment and news. And
so do you say, "Ooh, I need to know what's happening in the game industry," and you go to a website, or do you just like read anything that's up on it?
I really like to know what's happening. Just today, when Disney closed down LucasArts, it was just like a big I'm sitting here, I'm just browsing the internet, and bam, there it is, right there in my face, and it's like.
Were you a LucasArts? Did you play LucasArts games in the past?
I am a huge fan of Star Wars in general. Even the games that LucasArts had exported out, like Battlefront. Big fans of all of those. I didn't pick. I know a lot of people, when they talk about LucasArts, like to name drop Monkey Island.
Yeah.
I hadn't picked up Monkey Island until after I played like Empire at War and Dark Forces and stuff.
Because after you play Dark Forces, like, I need to play a game called Monkey Island. I'm the taste for the funny pirates.
Well, they just like to name drop it.
Okay, so you have two birds.
Yes, I do. This is my cocktail remedy.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. And this is all on the up and up, right? You're allowed to have like that many birds in Florida?
Can you stack your birds?
Yeah, can you juggle them? Is there a juggling component?
No, they won't like being stacked on top of
Do they get along, or like do they recognize they're both birds? And they're like, dude.
There's birds, whenever they get attached to humans, they get imprinted on humans. They believe themselves to be humans. When they're around birds of their same species, if they were raised by humans by hand, they're attached to humans, they will not identify themselves with other humans. They really won't.
That is a complete existential crisis. I had no idea they got that deep with the birds. My God.
It's really funny. Right now, my cockatiel is going through her breeding cycle, and we have a male cockatiel in the house. It's my mother-in-law's. She will not go near it. Instead, she climbs all over my wife and I, just clucking everywhere. because she thinks she's a human.
Okay, so how many human birds do you have in this home?
There's 6 birds in our house right now.
Wow.
There's a cockatoo, about football sized. We have 2 cockatiels, which are just a little bigger than this little dude. We have this little dude right here, and then we have 2 parakeets. Technically, they're not parakeets; they're budgerigars, but that's just what it is.
I applaud you with that much wildlife, and you're still able to like kind of focus on infinite. I tip my hat. I'm curious. I'm going to move over here to Elliot. Elliot, do you have animals, and do they engage in the gaming?
I've used to have a canary, and I also used to have a lot of animals around the house, but recently we've just not really had much. We've been shooting for a corgi, but that's about it. Because
the corgi that is kind of the dog of the moment, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's a dog of the moment. I've always liked the idea of a corgi because they're meant to be smart and incredibly loyal and just fun-loving.
Yeah,
that's what I always liked about them.
See, I want to get one of those dogs that's terrified of everything because then I'll have a soulmate. Oh. And, yeah, I mean, like those dogs are like something's over there. It's dangerous.
You guys can co-op Dead Space together.
Yeah, exactly.
That game.
So, where are you hailing in from there, Elliot?
I'm currently residing in Scotland at the moment, up in Glasgow.
But are you Scottish? You seem to have one of the lightest brogues I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I know. It's just something I have.
Right. Well, I mean, look, as I said before to one of our earlier guests. Oh, did we just lose you there? There we go. No, I've been to Scotland many times. I actually lived in London for about 1.5 years and kept on popping up there. I love it up there. Anyhow, so we've been talking a little bit about what people want out of their gaming sites and what they're like. If you want to play a TV show based on a game, I want to go back to one of the earlier ideas that we had. Let's say that I have incredibly godly powers and I'm also really malevolent, and I suddenly say, okay, you, Elliot, are now running Electronic Arts. What would you do?
I think one of the best things I probably want to do is try and start a lot of new IPs with a lot of more interesting ideas, because, I mean, it sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but I want to see what people have in stock, have in mind, something like that. And I'm also, obviously, take down Origin. That's just me.
So would you take it in the backyard and just beat it to death, or flush it down the toilet like a gold?
I'd be much nicer. I just used a shotgun.
Okay, all right. You would just kind of like if Mike's in then just kind of pat it on the head and be like, "Yeah, tell me more about the rabbits there, Origin." Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's.
If you don't mind, what is your main beef with Origin? Is it something that you personally have experienced?
It's just because it feels like they're being annoying for the sake of it. They're not being simplistic by using one system like Steam. I mean, I know people use GOG for some of their other games, like stuff like that, and they can be perfectly fine with that. But I just think it's just a lot of clutter at the end of the day for me to deal with on a laptop. Simple as that at times, and they'd sell a lot more, and they'd be a lot more happy and accessible if they just said, "Hey, we've got this up now,"
It's just like one universal system. On that notion, do you use Uplay for your Ubisoft games?
I mean, fair enough. Far Cry 3 was the only exception because, I mean, they've done a lot of stuff. They were less intrusive with Far Cry 3, which I thought was a lot better considering Assassin's Creed 2's DRM and how well that went.
Yeah, exactly. So it's less an issue of the DRM or that it's EA's service. It really is how EA's implementing the service that kind of rubs you the wrong way.
I mean, I've also heard a lot of horror stories about EA service, but I think they can easily improve upon that at times and such.
So is there any one franchise they have that you would want to kind of invest in and nurture and try to change a little bit? Other than FIFA, I mean, is there something there?
I don't think I really have any sort of way of saying this is what needs to be improved. I really don't think I have that much of an idea of what would need to be improved. That's
you still have ideas, so hopefully they will come a calling. I think Nick, let's.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag in Sam Collinsworth here real quick because he apparently wrote a paper on the relationship between online game retailers, and I feel like he has some expertise maybe that he could weigh in with here.
Sam, you wrote a paper on video games, which is something I never got to do in college. First, where are you, and who are you writing this paper for?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Awesome.
You are a winner.
Thanks. I'm actually from Ann Arbor, Michigan, but I go to MSU up here in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
Pretty much I have this WRA class that's about technology. All I've ever written about is League of Legends, and this is the first time that I've written about something other than League. So, pretty much, to tag on about Origin, like, I don't know how he'd say he'd take it down and stuff. I'd say, I really just wrote about how, like in business, I'm in a lot of economic history classes because that's my major. But like business requires competition. Obviously, monopoly is not only illegal, but it's something that's detrimental to. Yeah, exactly. Detrimental to an economy. Where we have Steam here though is Steam's really unique. Like you only see stuff like this at the turn of a couple centuries and stuff, where just a totally new market comes out and only one person takes advantage of it. And so Gabe Newell comes out a multi-millionaire out of Microsoft's boom in the mid-90s, and he has nothing to spend his money on, So he opens up Steam. If it was anybody but Gabe Newell running Steam, we would see 10 different origins. We would see so many different, because obviously everybody knows Gabe Newell's doctrine on how like keeping games cheap. He's going to sell a lot. A game sold is better, or a cheap game sold is better than an expensive game not sold. But the thing about Origin, it sells games the same price as anything else, and it hasn't gotten near as much attention, so it hasn't had as much of a chance to work on a lot of its programs. All in all, as far as online retail goes for video games, it's definitely like top 5. But are there more than 5? So
yeah, okay, that's a very good point.
Yeah,
so, I'm curious. You really put a lot of thought into this, and yes, you realize that the primary investment into Valve came out of money that Gabe Newell made while he was in Microsoft during the heyday of the 90s. Do you think it also served them business-wise that the percentage of games owned by Valve that are available on Steam are much lower than the percentage of games owned by EA that are on Origin?
Well, all right. That I actually wrote about that too. Well, Valve really looks at it like, because at first, like, there weren't a whole lot of games on Steam, and when Steam came out, there weren't a whole lot of people, talking about buying download games. You're still going down to GameStop, picking up your shelved copy of, Doom 3. And so at the time, like when it first came out, obviously a big thing, Half-Life was popular. Half-Life 1 pretty much, Counter-Strike, like enough said, created competitive games, or a lot of attention on competitive games. But EA.
I don't want to bore you here, Sam. Okay.
No, sorry. I just woke up. I pulled my mind for a quiz this morning.
You're in college. The fact that you napped to wake up for this is actually quite a compliment. Go on, Sam. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Well, Valve really and actually, here's another thing we can relate to Microsoft. Microsoft sees like, Microsoft has Windows, and then they pretty much sell the rights, and then they have IBM, and then they make Windows like a universal platform, can work on anything. Okay, and then you have Apple, where their OS really only works on one. There's only really one manufacturer for their systems. But Valve sees that they can make more money and really just help more consumers by really just universally allowing people to selling universal products. Like they'll sell anybody's product, but you have to fit their doctrine. There's been games taken off Steam before. We just saw War Z. If they don't fit the quality and they don't agree to the price that Valve wants to set, or they don't want these sales to happen, generally they don't sell very well, and to a point Valve will even choose to take them off Steam. Where Origin,
it's not worth just hosting those games.
Yeah, exactly. Where Origin, like really, it's pretty much like EA. It's EA's pick. If EA thinks your game can make them money, they'll take you. But a lot of developers really only want to put on Steam because they think they're going to get the most attention. Not to mention, a lot of people associate a negative stigma with Origin.
With Origin, yeah. There's a gentleman I know that was wearing a jacket with the Origin logo on it, just walking down the street. In San
I don't know who would do that.
He got booed and hissed. I was wondering what his thinking was on that as well. Well, Sam, thank you so much. That was great. And if you need like a get out of jail free card with your professor in this class, I'm happy to do it because that was great. Thank you. Hey Nick,
Yo,
do you want to grab one of those questions from the Texty Talkie area?
Yeah,
that's
no problem.
the new name for it. It's not Chatland. It's Texty Talkie area.
Texty Talkie area. So the TTA asks. There's a guy named GameSpace1 actually who wants to know if anyone in this hangout is going to get an OUYA.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, we're gonna start with you, Alice. Alice, OUYA.
Okay. I will admit I am extremely, extremely interested in it, but I don't want to drop $200 on this console or more, depending on which package it is. I don't know, but like I'm really interested in it because I know indie developers have like been proven time and time again to like actually give to their audience because they are part of that audience, and I think I will wait and see. If they just have Angry Birds, I'm already tired of that game. It's like there's a trajectory.
I was tired of that game pretty much when I started playing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on over here.
Okay.
Elliot, OUYA. Are you gonna get yourself an OUYA?
I'd rather invest in the Oculus Rift than OUYA. That's just me. I've never really saw much use of the OUYA.
Okay, I'm just curious. If the OUYA had been renamed the Super Stick of Death, would you be considering it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe just because of the name.
I've been thinking about this too. Sam, OUYA. Are you OUYA bound? Does this work? I mean, can you see a thesis coming from OUYA ownership?
I know, like, there's no chance I would never buy an OUYA.
Well, at least you're emphatic. So.
I mean, you say indie developers, like, it's the big deal. Like, that's OUYA's thing. It's like, oh man, indie developers. I'd be sooner to get a Piston or whatever the next Steam-supported console is. But I mean, just like, you're gonna see a lot of indie games on this thing, but where are your major developers at? I'd rather pick up a Wii U where I'm gonna get Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, probably gonna be the best game ever, or like where I'm gonna see indie games on the online store, and then I'm still gonna see my major games coming out for my system. I wanna drop $200 on a system where it's only gonna fit like one like genre that I play. You know, I mean, I mainly play PC. I play fighting games. I'm a big fighting game player. So I have to have an Xbox for that. But that's pretty much it.
Well, I gotta say, I'm hoping whatever. If a new thing comes from Steam, I don't want it to be called Piston. I want it to be called Winch. I think they're completely underserving that wonderful word, and they're one of the few companies that can take advantage of it. Thank you, Sam. I want to bring in someone new. Cody Childs.
Yeah, let's grab Cody. Right here. His webcam might not be working, just to let you know. It was working earlier, and then he's encountered some weird...
looks like we have some problems. So let's try Caleb.
All right. Let's see here.
You got Caleb over here?
Yeah, here's Caleb.
Introducing Caleb. Hey, man, how are you doing?
Good. You hear me all right?
I love the white wall. You're doing a complete proof of life video right now. So can you tell me where you're from, or is it a secret room and you don't even know how you got there?
No, it's perfectly open. It's I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Phoenix, Arizona. Nice. All right. I think I was flying over some part of Arizona when I was coming into Texas. I can't tell. It's all kind of. It looks like the original Gears of War when you're flying, east into into the southeast, because it's like, look, it's gray and brown.
Yeah. It's all one big desert.
Yeah. So, OUYA. We were talking about the OUYA. Are you considering an OUYA? Do you know what an OUYA is? Do you wish it was called Super Manly Gum Chewing Apparatus for the Cool Kids?
Well, that name sounds appealing, but yeah, I've heard about it. I think the price range is around $100.
Yeah, $1,302. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that low of a price range, they really are appealing as low as they can to like the most broad audience. And if I had the money and they had some good titles, I would pick it up.
Okay, I want to ask you honestly, because completely independent of the quality or what they're aiming to do with the product, which I think is quite admirable. I find the name a little ridiculous. Does it give you any discomfort that you might have to go into a store and say, "Do you have an OUYA?"
I really don't have a problem with the name. I
You
don't
go
know
to
where
your
it
buddies and
originates
be like,
from.
"Would you like to come over and play with my OUYA?" And then they might turn tail and run. And you'll never hear from them again.
I wouldn't be surprised if they changed it, but right now, as it stands, I don't see a problem with it.
No, that's good. Hey, I'm old and I get embarrassed by most things, and so you're young and you're open to new ideas, like putting 2 O's at the beginning of a product that you're going to sell. Okay, so let's say that you have an OUYA. What do you kind of envision are the games that you're going to play on it, and how long do you think you might sit down and play an OUYA game for?
Well, to bring it up, I think it might be somewhere around maybe something you can play in a handheld, maybe a little bit above that. But I wouldn't be surprised if it indicated anything past maybe what titles maybe Super Smash Bros. Or something like that, where you just sit down for 30, 45 minutes with 2 or 3 of your friends.
But probably won't
just
be
sit there.
Nintendo. So it'll be Super Ball Buddies or something like that.
Yeah,
some derivation.
Kind of flash.
So I mean, but let's assume that they are kind of those quicker hit games that you're used to on your phone and your tablets. Do you really see yourself sitting on a couch and going okay, I want to play for 10 minutes?
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the hardest features to sell. If you're only going to be sitting down maybe for an hour, I don't expect anyone to sit down for as much as a PC or a console.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like they are marketing to a smaller broad of gamers.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a lot of crossover between kind of the hardcore gamer that I'm going to assume you are and the people that are the audience for the OUYA?
No, I think right now as it is, a lot of people are going to look into it, and if it has good titles, everyone's going to try and have a little bit of it. I mean, it's totally dependent on the player.
Yeah. Guys, I don't want to sound like I'm deeply, deeply skeptical. I have said some skeptical things about the OUYA, but yeah, I'm trying to get a better sense of I think everyone's kind of imposing their ideas and dreams on it. I'm just trying to get an idea what people are thinking. I think we only have time for one more guest, so let's see if we can bring in Marshall Graham. Nick, can you pull that off?
Marshall, yeah.
You're so powerful and good at what you do.
In my wisdom, I have selected Marshall Graham.
Marshall, how are you?
He's got an Asura's Wrath wall scroll back there.
I was about to say, you're going to have to unmute yourself there, Marshall.
Hey there, Adam. Long time no see.
Yes, it's good to see you. Where are you from, Marshall?
Originally North Carolina.
Ah, bingo.
But thanks to you, I am now living in Dallas.
What did I do to make that happen?
You introduced me to the Guild Hall, remember?
Oh my gosh, Marshall, that's absolutely right. That's great. Are you going to SMU Guild Hall?
Yes, I am. Well, I am going to apply there soon. I've been to every open house I've been to ever since I lived here, and so I'm just living in Dallas, going through my undergrad, and I will soon be, hopefully, at the Guild Hall.
Well, that's awesome. Just so everyone knows, the Guild Hall is a game development program, and it's a master's degree that's available at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. I've been very close with many people that have worked there over the years. I got to give the commencement speech or their graduation speech and became an honorary guild master. I got a sash.
That sounds like an awesome.
That sounds pretty badass.
But I've never had a sash before, and they're fun. They're useless, but they're fun. My only advice is if you have a sash, don't run through your home because you can get caught on things and you can hurt yourself.
I used to do that when I had my Boy Scout sash, but I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, I had one of those. I never got to sash level. I was like, I kind of stalled out at first class, and because I was like, oh, girls. So anyway, Marshall, we've been talking about what would you do if you were the president of EA? Would you be playing a television show about or a game about a television show? We've been talking a little bit about the OUYA. I'm curious, if you're the president of a television network and you had to do something about video games, what would it be? You had to do a television show. Does it have to be like an X-Play thing? It could be a show based on a video game. Do you think there's anything out there that could actually work?
Specifically relating to the OUYA, or is there anything in general?
Forget the OUYA. That would make this way too challenging a question. But if you wanted to name the show OUYA and it's a variety show and like Donnie and Marie asked, you could suggest that, but that would be demented.
If I was going to try to create a video game-based show, I would probably do something where I try to get as many like multi-personality type of gamers or multi-circumstantial gamers as possible. I mean, for myself personally, I'm a handicapped gamer. I play games with one hand. I mean, you already know this. So
I
would try.
PAX. It was 2 years ago at PAX Boston, correct?
Yeah, exactly. 2 years, actually, this month.
Yeah, you're right. It would have been, yeah. So, go on. I'm sorry, Marshall.
Include that. Like, I would include someone maybe like myself, with someone with one hand who plays games, or maybe someone who is in a wheelchair, or just different types of personalities, different circumstances, physical circumstances, or maybe mental circumstances, and include those in terms of like discussing the more maybe I don't want to say like I don't want to sound pretentious, but more higher brow aspects or like philosophical aspects that a game can reach, or maybe I don't know. There's so many ideas I could probably bounce around with this question that.
But I like where you're going with that, because once again, you're kind of trying to reach. I think what a lot of people who are both gamers and work in the game industry, and this was coming up a lot at GDC last week.
Oh yeah.
Is that the games are not necessarily representative of the breadth and diversity of the people who play games.
Exactly.
And I think that's a sense of frustration. I can see some heads nodding right down there at the bottom of the screen that, it's not all Marcus Phoenix. It's like there's some people who just aren't Marcus Phoenixes, and that you can represent that and have a really interesting story to tell.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that. In fact, that was one of the policies. Like, one of the things I plan to do as I get older is become a game developer myself and adopt that sort of mentality, saying, look, not every gamer is going to have the same physical circumstances when they go into a game. In fact, this is kind of a question that I kind of wanted to pose to you for a while, ever since you did your God of War Ascension review. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with the trophy.
I can take it. Trust me. I've been dragged through enough demented mud. What is it, misandry? That word is thrown around with the frequency of Rick Taylor's glitter. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Marshall, go on. What was the question you were going to ask?
I was going to ask, this is just something I've been kind of noticing with a lot of other critics lately, and not to sound arrogant or anything like that, but my question is, do you feel like there are certain critics that act a little spoiled when it comes to how the game controls? Because in my personal opinion, and I acknowledge this is going to sound completely arrogant, and I won't deny if someone says that, but I just cover my bases, but personally, I feel like if I can control a game fine with one hand and play it no problem whatsoever, then no two-handed person has any right to complain. And I completely acknowledge that sounds arrogant.
That's a credible and empirical statement that you're making right there. So I'm assuming you're saying that in terms of like, I'm complaining about the controls, they're mushy, there's latency or something like that?
Yeah, I've never noticed anything of that sort ever. I do this one-handed.
The reason why, and I've commented on this a couple of times, I felt there was something wrong with God of War, like what happened at the end of the game. I am now of the mind that some versions of the game just trigger a bug, because I still believe the behavior that happened in the section I got stuck on didn't look right. There was just too much happening. It just wasn't consistent with what had happened before. But that notwithstanding, I think sometimes when you're reviewing a game, and I've been playing so many games over the past about 3 months, you have that muscle memory, and you become a little bit more attuned to things that are happening that are nuanced, they're small nuances. I tend personally not to talk too much about that level of granular, get that granular about the controls, because it is hard to figure out what is game and what is me. And I think that's one of the biggest anxieties I have when reviewing certain games is, that line between you and the product is pretty blurry. It's not like a movie or a book where you know where the book ends and you begin in your interactions with it. And I see exactly where you're coming from. I also have the utmost confidence in the world that you are a better gamer than I am, Marshall.
I don't know if I would say. I don't know if I'd say that.
It's an interesting comment, because I go back and forth about how much I want to get into that level of specifics. I also prefer to talk about games as kind of the altogether experience. And so it's only when the controls are presenting enough of a problem that you're aware of the controls. And that to me is really where I think it becomes an issue. That is a great question, and unfortunately the one that we're going to have to end on, because guys, I am out here in Austin All I can say is I'm out here to shoot a movie. Hopefully I can tell you more about it, but I have to preserve my voice for tomorrow because I will be going on camera for the first time. And yes, as you notice, I had to shave my beard for it. So if you want to read into that,
we all
feel free. Nick? Okay, I think we've done it. Thank you very much for assisting. Guys, thank you so much. I think this format works. I really enjoyed it. We're going to experiment again. So we're going to do this in 2 more weeks. I will not be in a hotel room. I will probably be in a dungeon, but not with the pleasurable kind. It'll be like the action kind with stones and probably like a little bit of sewage or drainage coming down the back to just give it a little bit of depth of feel.
Perfect to talk about MMOs.
Exactly, perfect for MMOs.
Got
so,
it.
Nick,
yeah,
thank you again. But everyone,
yeah, thanks everyone. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode.
This is Address the Sess. Thank you all. Let's do it again soon. Bye bye.
Sure thing.
And